guys, welcome to the channel Style by C. Today's tutorial will be on how to recreate this beautiful piece. Do subscribe to the channel, share to friends, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. See you in our subsequent tutorials. So guys, the first thing first you're going to be marking is your half length of your dress. So I'm going to be working with 16.5 inches. 16 inches is my half length. I added extra half for stitching allowance. Okay, so now having done this, now go ahead and insert my shoulder measurements here, my neck width on the same startup line. Then from the shoulder measurement, I'll come down by 1 inch. This is for my shoulder slope. I'll connect it to the neck width. Alright. Then divide your bust measurements by 6. Add 1.5 inches to it to get your chest line. Mine is 7.5 inches. Okay, so on that chest line, I also mark my shoulder measurements. I'm going to connect the points together. And this is what we have. Okay, having done this now, to get our armhole curve, what we have to do is we have to divide what we have at the arm area into 2 to get the midpoint. Then from the midpoint, come in by 1/2 inch. This is to enable us create the curve we are looking for. Then from there, go in with your curve drill to make the curve, okay, into the chest line. Having done this now, I'm going to place our tape back at start point line. I'm going to mark my bust line, which is at 10 inches, my under bust, which is at 13. Then I'll go ahead to make a row across each point. After making a row, I'm going to go ahead to label them. This is V, bust line. This is U, under bust. This is H, half length. Okay. Now the next thing to mark is your nipple to nipple point. You're going to mark it on your bust line, the under bust, and the half length. Go ahead to connect these 3 points using the stretch rule. Okay, now we're going to go in with our braces dart manipulation proper. So now on your half length, you need to go ahead to mark 2 inches. Do the same thing at the under bust. Connect the points together this way, and this is what we have. Okay, this is to create that perfect cup you want. Now the next thing to do is to connect to your bust line. We're going to be using the curved part of the rule for this, and this is what we have. All right, now from this point now, you're going to be connecting to half of your armhole measurement, just as you see here. So I've gone ahead to connect them. Now the next thing to do now is from this point now, I'm going to come down by 2 inches. The 2 inches I'm coming down by, this is to create our armhole darts, okay, to tighten the armhole area so it will not be too bulky, it will not be bulging. Now from that point now, you're going to connect to this area back to your bust line. Having done this now, you're going to be adding these 2 inches you have here back to this line to avoid shortage during sewing. So what do we do? I'm going to place my tape here and extend the line by 2 inches. Go ahead and connect them back. And this is what we have. Okay, now go ahead and retrace your armhole. So the armhole is going to start from here. You're going to retrace it. Pull it back into the chest line. And this is what we have. Now, this part is going off. These areas are going off. The next thing to do now is to insert your actual body measurements. On your chest line, mark your bust measurements. On the waistline, go ahead and mark your waist measurements. And this is what we have. Now, we have removed 2 inches at this point. We're going to be adding back to the pattern paper. Note that these are not stitching allowance. These are the allowance, the measurements or allowance you need here. You're adding it back to your pattern paper. So you're going to add it back plus an inch, 1 inch sewing allowance. Okay. So at this point now we have about, let's say, approximately 1 inch plus 1 inch stitching allowance. That is for it, but not your actual seam allowance, please. Then go ahead and connect them together. So this is what we have for our princess darts. Now we're going to be working on the neck area proper. Okay. The Queen Anne neckline with a stylish design in front. Okay, so first thing first is I'm going to mark the depth of the neck, which is 6 inches. Okay, so I have 6 inches here. I'm going to make a row across, a small slant across that 6 inches. So now from this 6 inches, I'm going to go in by 4.5 inches. That's at that 6 inches point I have. Now I'm going to be going in by 4.5 inches. And this is where my 4.5 inches is. Now from this point, I'm going to be connecting to my neck width, which I have in front. And this is what we have. Alright. Now I noticed that it is too up. So I'm going to go ahead to alter it or reduce it, like zipping it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead to reduce it to 7 inches. Please, if you are doing these alterations, be mindful so that your cleavage will not show. Okay, depends on how your position. 6 to 7 inches is fine. So I'm going to mark my 4.5 inches at that point. Let's go ahead and reconnect. And this is what we have. This is the first line. Now from this point now, which is the 4.5 inches I have, I'm going to be making a curve, a slant towards this upper area. So what I have to do is from this 7 inches depth for the neck piece, I'm going to go up by 3 inches or 2.5 inches rather. Now from this point I'm going to connect to this area. So you can decide to leave it as a U curve or a triangle shape, depending on how you want it to be. So this is how mine will be. Now we're going to go ahead to cut out this piece so you see how it looks. So this is what it looks like. So this is what the shape is giving us. This is the center piece. Please note that this center piece is going to be in a fold while cutting. Then I cut out this other area. So what you have to do is to go ahead and transfer this to your fabric. Okay. So guys, this is what I'm going to do. I've placed my fabric on the board. I'm going to cut this piece out. have to do is you have to cut out a lining piece to turn it out, then attach an interfacing which will serve as a stiffener to this. Okay. We'll also proceed to cut out the other side of it. So what I have to do now is, these are my pieces, okay? So let's assume I've already attached an interfacing to it. So I'll place them this way. Then I'll go ahead and join them. So I'm going to run a stitch to join this. Go ahead and run a stitch this area to join this. Alright. So what my take on this dress is, please make sure that you insert an interfacing, an X stay preferably, to your fabric piece or your lining piece before sewing, so that you're going to have this stiffener, like it's going to stand properly at this end. Okay. Then secondly, you can decide to use a bra cup for it. Inside the bra cup, I didn't put any bra cup, this is just the breast, and you see how my princess that came out very perfect and fine. You can also decide to use a breast wadding or a breast pad for it, so whichever one works for you is totally fine. See you in the next video. Don't forget to share, watch, and give us a thumbs up.